Yeah, but weather storms aside, Lindsey, the plan we know for Ontario students was to go back to in-person learning this week after a 2-week pivot to online learning. And there are a lot of questions from parents this morning. So to answer them, we are joined by the Ontario Minister of Education, Stephen Lecce. Good to have you back on the show.
Thank you. Good morning. Good to be with you.
Good to be with you, too. Now, listen, there are some schools that are back in person this morning. Some are either having a snow day or back to virtual learning. But regardless, there's a lot of concern from parents about safety, especially with no tracing and reporting. We know that science tells us people can be contagious up to 2 days before symptoms show up. So 2 questions here. Where does the 30% threshold come from? And how long do you expect in-person learning to last?
Well, we're committed to keeping kids in class. We think it's essential for their mental and physical health. And that's a position that is supported getting kids back today on the 17th by the pediatric hospitals of this province, the Chief Medical Officer of Health, and every medical officer of health in the province of Ontario supports the return today. Now, with that said, we appreciate that a tool we can give families something that they think appreciated over the holidays was having those rapid test kits. We were the only province to do so, having the foresight to send them home over the holidays, and we're doing that again on a weekly basis. Rapid tests will be provided to families on a regularized basis for symptomatic purposes. Kits of 2, you test on day 1 when there's symptoms. 24 hours later, when you do a second test, when symptoms subside, the child returns to school. It's something we didn't have in 2021 that we now can layer into our school program for 2022 to reduce risk. With respect to the metrics, this week school boards have been told that they're going to pivot their student case reporting system into a absentee framework where they're going to be reporting this to families. School boards know this week they're building that infrastructure, collecting the information to get it right set up for the 25th. And the point is, parents will know when absenteeism takes place on a daily basis in their school by student and staff. They're not going to wait for a threshold of 20 or 30 or 40%. They will have that information. They will also know about any closures, be because of operational reasons, because of high absenteeism, or because the public health unit has closed the school. And I also want to just make clear that you will have the ability now to have access to free rapid tests in your home. In addition, the masking quality I think is really important as we learn more about Omicron and how it can spread. A high quality mask is fundamental. And we'll be the only province in Canada to provide N95s to all education staff and all childcare staff, not just the school, not just the teacher, but the school bus driver, the EA, or the secretary or mental health worker. Everyone will have access to these masks should they want them within our staff. And we're doing it to reduce risk. The other element is vaccination, and we're trying to encourage our educating staff to get boosted, which is why we've given them accelerated access, one of 3 provinces to do so, and we've opened up clinics across Ontario to give that incentive for them.
Minister, let me ask you about self-isolating and the work for teachers there. So we know that if a student or somebody in their household tests positive, that they need to isolate. And so we learned from a guest, one of the directors of education, that was saying that they've asked their teachers to put some of the work online for students who are doing virtual because of isolation, and then also be doing an in-class round for kids who are there in person. That seems to be double the work for teachers. What kind of support is there for them there?
There's no doubt that, trying to accommodate kids who are home because of the circumstance of COVID and in class is going to be a challenge. It has been throughout the pandemic. What we're asking educators to do is keep their children engaged in the curriculum. And so they're building out lesson plans, they're preparing for this, and they've been doing this for a year. I appreciate the challenges that come with it, but we just have to ensure that every student, irrespective of the circumstance of staying home for symptoms or because they're isolating, we want to ensure children have access to the curriculum, which is why we've set up a live synchronous learning system that's allowing kids who may stay home to still participate in the curriculum, still be able to access their educator. And I think that's really important, that continuity in the life of a child. Now, we have reduced the timelines children could be isolating out of class. We've given rapid tests to get them back into class. Remember, in the past, parents who could be waiting 4, 6, 8 days from the start of their PCR test to the result, and that entire class could be dismissed. So the Chief Medical Officer of Health has said this will have the positive effect of reducing the time a child's out of class while still having a layer of protection in place by giving those rapid tests out more accessibly. And I think the other thing that's important is ventilation. Because if we're trying to reduce the risk, to your question, how do we keep children safely isolated? and how do we support staff as well within our schools. It's just going back to the basic fundamentals of a strong, well-ventilated school system.
Sure.
And I'm really proud that in Ontario, we've invested heavily. We've got 70,000 HEP units, and we didn't wait till Omicron came to Ontario or to Canada. I mean, I've got provincial ministers of education, east and west, scrambling to procure HEPA units. Yeah. We have 70,000 in schools, in every classroom with the school without mechanical ventilation, and we've updated the mechanical ventilation in every single school. So we really try to stay ahead of this virus and keep the staff safe, mentally, physically, as you noted, and as well as the kids, of course.
Minister, one last question for you, and I think every parent can relate to this one in Ontario. A lot of frustration around these. It feels like last-minute decisions. I know there's a lot of factors to consider, but it seems like these decisions come at the 11th hour. Parents want to work with you. They also want their kids to be learning to the best of their ability. Why did these decisions come so late?
Well, we did proactively plan ahead of the holidays to send kids home with rapid tests to get them back to school. We were the only province to plan ahead in this respect. And we've always tried to do so, be it on ventilation or N95s. The only province in Canada to give our education staff N95s.
Reversal on sending them to school and then keeping that at home came the day before.
No, I appreciate that. I'm just simply noting that we have operated on a more proactive basis. What we have also done is we've pivoted when required when it comes to embracing, I think, a principle of caution when it comes to kids. And I know this has not been easy on anyone, on the staff, on the parents, and on the kids themselves. That's why I think it's really important that we get the kids back. Appreciating Mother Nature had another plan today, but for most kids, they'll be returning tomorrow. And we want that to be a positive start. And so if we can provide them with the resources, with the rapid tests, with the high quality masks, with the ventilation, things that are in place, getting to schools as we speak, I think we can build confidence. And I just want to thank families for their understanding. I know this has been just a very difficult 2022 and 2 years of brutality on all of us. But I just think governments have to respond to risk. They have to embrace caution. And I think when it comes to children, parents would want us to do that. And we'll continue to do our very best to provide notice as we can to react to a moving virus that is literally moving every day, new data, new challenges, new variants. It just requires us to be nimble. But I know the impacts. I hear you. And I want to thank families for doing everything they can. Just please be vigilant, stay positive. And I really hope these kids can get in school, stay in school, with every layer of protection, extraordinary steps taken to reduce the risk of transmission. I do think our plan is strong. Yes, it's endorsed by the pediatric hospitals. We hope it's safe.
Yeah, that is something that you and I can agree on. We do hope it's safe. We do hope they can stay in school. Thanks for your time this morning.
For sure. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.